A political earthquake just days before a vote to decide Egypt's next president. The Supreme Court rulings were met with anger. The court threw out a law that could have disqualified Ahmed Shafik, Mubarak's former prime minister, from the presidential elections. It also ruled that Parliament's lower house, dominated by the Muslim Brotherhood, was invalid because party members were allowed to contest seats that were reserved for independents. Protesters were not happy.
This decision is a farce. We know the parliament is useless, but how can the court leave Shafik in the race? We won't allow for another dictator to bring back the old ruling party and state security to crush the people.
We expected these decisions. It's logical. We can't expect anything from a state that wants to impose Shafik against our will. We can't expect it to defend our revolution. The only way is to go back to the streets to reclaim our revolution.
Neither of these decisions were particularly surprising, but at the end of the day, this court has decided to keep in the presidential race a former member of Mubarak's regime, whilst dissolving the only elected authority in the country. At a news conference that looked more like a victory speech, Shafik said the country had made a historic decision by keeping him in the race.
I just want reforms, and God Almighty is the one who will back every one of us. The Supreme Constitutional Court has issued a historic ruling that considers the isolation law unconstitutional. The message of that historic verdict is that long gone are the days of targeting political figures by tailoring laws to destroy their reputation and violate the rights of our citizens. And we will never, ever from now on humiliate the laws of this land.
A very different reaction from both the Brotherhood and liberal forces, some of whom called the court's decisions basically a military coup. On Wednesday, the government decided to give the military extrajudicial powers to arrest civilians. Now, with no lower house of parliament, the military rulers have again assumed all legislative authority. With Ahmed Shafik, a former military officer, firmly in place for Saturday's runoff vote, and with no parliament or constitution in place, it's a nightmare scenario for Egypt's revolutionaries. The new president is said to have even more powers and less oversight than his predecessor, who hundreds died bringing down. Sherine, Tadros, Jazeera, Cairo.